just before 9 o'clock in the morning. Right now I am somewhere between Jacksonville, Florida and Daytona Beach on the I-95, doing the last leg of the drive down to my first stage of Q-School site. Game is still feeling good. It's not the best it's ever been, but I do feel right now that my all-around game is fairly strong. I don't feel like there are any glaring weaknesses. Everything has been good. So I'm 2 days out before the start of stage one. At this point, at least to a certain extent, the game is what it's going to be. I'm not going to make massive improvements in the next 48 hours before this thing gets going. And that's okay. Very rarely does your golf game feel perfect. In fact, it never really does. The beauty of golf is that you've got to take your game in the state it is and find a way to post scores. And that's what I have to focus on right now. I'm going to get to the site just after noon. Just kind of warm up, get a feel for the greens. That's going to be very important over the next 2 days. Is really getting a feel for the pace of these greens. I expect they're going to be fairly quick. And then I'm likely only going to play 9 holes today. Probably head out onto the back 9 and then go get checked into my hotel, do some recovery work, do some meditation, and then get ready for the final day of preparation tomorrow. Unfortunately, my caddy Ben, who was supposed to come down and caddy for me at stage 1, isn't going to be able to make it. He wasn't able to get the time off of work. That means I'll have a little bit more work to do myself this week, but that's okay. Not the first time. One thing I am happy about is that before I left Montreal, I threw my three-wheeler pull cart into the car, so at least I can use that this week. That'll help me conserve some energy instead of carrying my bag for the 4 days, well, 6 days if you're including the practice rounds, because where I'm heading in Florida is going to be significantly hotter than the northwest of Florida and the panhandle, the Pensacola area. From what I'm seeing, it's going to be close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit every day. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. Catch back up with you once I get to the golf course. So I'm out here on the back 9 of the Falls Club of the Palm Beaches. One of the first notes for this week, towels. Lots and lots of towels. I am sweating profusely, and I feel like every 3 seconds I got beads of sweat in my eyes. So that's something I'm gonna have to manage this week. Other than that, good looking golf course so far. It's good. Only played a couple holes, but we have good holes. So I think we're gonna have fun this week. Alright guys, just wrapping up here for today. Played the back 9. Cool course. I enjoyed that 9. Some tight tee shots, really cool risk reward, somewhat drivable par 4. So yeah, cool course. This is going to be fun. Did some practice afterwards, heading back to the car now, go check into my hotel, and then go grab some dinner. And tonight's just going to be about some rest, recovery, get ready for tomorrow. I'll at least play the front 9 tomorrow, perhaps play the back again. We'll see how my recovery is tonight, how I'm feeling tomorrow. All in all though, solid day. Putting together a good game plan. I really got a good feeling for what I need to do off the tee for the back 9, how I'm going to attack this course, where I can be aggressive, where I have to play for position. I'm going to go rest up. I'll catch up with you guys again tomorrow. Morning guys, October 16th. It is the day before Q-School starts, so last practice round day. I'm just heading out of the hotel, heading down to the course, go practice, play the front 9 at least. Did a lot of pace work on the greens today. Tricky greens on this course, a lot of different tiers. Pace control is going to be extremely important this week, so that's something I've got to get dialed in today. Anyways guys, I'm not going to do any filming at the course today. I just really need to focus on preparing for the next few days. I will catch up with you later on once I'm back here to kind of wrap on how things went, how I'm feeling going into tomorrow, and we'll take it from there. Cheers, guys. All right, didn't end up filming anything else yesterday. Played my practice round, ended up playing the full 18. Just wanted to kind of get back out on the back nine, get a feel specifically for the greens because they are pretty tricky. Got a good feel for them, and then came back to the hotel, just did my recovery stuff, rested up, and really just worked on getting into the zone going into today's first round. So let's recap round one. A lot of positives to take from today. At the end of the day, score really is the only thing that matters, but today is one of those days where I don't feel like the score really represents how I played. I was at 2 over par 73 for the first round. The course normally is a par 72, but we're playing the first hole, which is usually a par 5. We're playing it as a 495-yard par 4, straight into the wind, so that was a tough way to start the day. For the most part, I hit the ball really well today. I missed a couple of tee shots. My iron and wedge game was really quite good. Gave myself a lot of looks at birdie. I hit 10 fairways and 15 greens. Unfortunately, whatever feel I felt I'd gotten for the greens yesterday didn't translate over to today. The greens on this course are incredibly grainy, and being from up in Montreal, it's just not something I've used to. I've played on grainy greens before, but nothing to this extent. So even though I didn't make a lot of putts, I still feel like I executed well when it came to my putting in terms of hitting my line and my pace. They just weren't the right lines and sometimes not the right pace. So anyways, I stuck around for a while after the round, stayed on the putting green and just tried to figure it out. I even talked to a couple of guys out on the putting green to see if they had any thoughts or insights on it. So I think I learned some stuff this afternoon after the round, and the plan's just to take that into tomorrow. I'm not changing my game plan. Tee to green was solid. I like the way that I'm attacking the golf course. I did a really good job of being aggressive to the spots I was trying to hit to. Today just really all came down to not converting on the opportunities that I had. I'm by no means out of it. I'm 4 shots out of contention at this point. So they've finally announced it's the top 20 and ties that we'll be getting through, and that's 2 under at the moment. But I mean, listen, we're 1 day into a 4-day golf tournament. There is a lot of golf ahead of us here, and I'm feeling good. I think what I'm most proud of today is how I managed myself mentally. You know, honestly, I was much more nervous on the first tee than I'm used to being going into a tournament. Now, I know this is a different stage. It's the biggest tournament I've ever played in, but I was still much more nervous than I would have expected. And I did a really good job of just kind of concentrating on my breathing and trying to somewhat meditate a little bit, and ended up striping one right on my line. So continued with that throughout the round, you know, hitting the number of good shots that I hit and never really being rewarded by making putts, it gets pretty frustrating. It would have been pretty easy for me to have gotten a little more aggressive either off the tee or more specifically going into greens, trying to give myself much shorter putts, and then in turn sometimes you're going to short side yourself if you miss a shot. And anyways, there was none of that. Gonna have to be patient again tomorrow. Just got to go out, do the same thing, trust that the putts will start to fall, because they will. I mean, I'm hitting good putts. One of the guys I played with, you know, at the end of the day told me he thought I was going to make every putt that I hit because I was just hitting pure putts. Shot of the day for me, in my opinion, 5th hole, right around 400 yards, maybe just a hair under 400 yards. Dog legs left around a body of water. So I'd hit hybrid off the tee and I bailed out a little bit to the right, put it into a fairway bunker. It's one of the 4 fairways that I'd missed. Now I'm hitting out of this bunker over the water to a back left flag, where it is on the green, surrounded by bunkers and water. And I've got wind whipping in off the left. I've got 128 yards, and I just hit this beautiful flighted pitching wedge, like a 3/4 swing pitching wedge, held a little draw up into the wind and put it to about 6 feet. And in terms of execution and, you know, in that moment, hitting out of a fairway bunker when you've got a body of water to clear, you know, it can be a little scary. The margin for error is not very big. And I'm sure you can probably guess based on how the conversation's gone so far, I did not convert that putt, which was really unfortunate. Again, hit a great putt, hit my line, hit my pace. The ball finished right behind the hole. The grain took it and made it turn just much later than I expected it to. Anyways, that's it for round one recap. I've got to rest up. I've got an early morning tomorrow, up at around 5:30. So I will catch up with you guys again tomorrow. Cheers. All right, just wrapped up round two here at stage one of Q-School. I think this day is gonna haunt me for a long time. I'm honestly at a loss for words. This game can be so unforgiving. Did everything I'd normally do last night in terms of recovery, went to bed at a good time. Unfortunately, I slept terribly. I didn't have a problem falling asleep, but I kept waking up. I was having this recurring dream where I've got like a 4-foot putt and I hit a good putt and I'm like going to grab the ball out of the hole and it hits the back of the cup, like the back of the metal of the cup, and jumps back out towards me. I don't know where that came from, but at least 3 times last night I woke up after the image of the ball coming back out at me. So yeah, not a great night's sleep, very low recovery, 31% recovery. So I knew right away that today was going to be challenging. I just didn't quite understand how challenging it was going to be. All things considered, my warm-up went pretty well, and I had a pretty good range session before going out there. And unfortunately, I didn't hit a solid shot until my 4th hole. Just a very, very poor start ball striking wise. If it wasn't for a really good 2-putt from about 80 feet on my first hole, the 10th hole, I would have been 3 over after 3. Anyway, so I'm 2 over after 3, and then I actually stringed 2 birdies in a row to get myself back to even. I'm like, okay, all right, back to square one. Let's keep this going. 15 is a dogleg left par 4 around some water. I went for the green yesterday as it's a drivable par 4 and hit it just off the right edge. You know, really wasn't feeling the swing. I'd already missed a drive pretty far left on my 3rd hole, so decided that the smarter play to do was just to hit 4-iron out towards the bunkers right of the fairway, hit a wedge up, make birdie that way. I mean, I hit the 4-iron great. Unfortunately, I hooked it about 60 yards right into the water. Take my drop, I've got a good number, I've got the ball above my feet, I've got the wind coming off the right, and I play for it, but I pulled a little bit and the wind takes it, and I end up with about a, 60-footer from the wrong tier and 3-putt for double. So after fighting so hard to get back to even, I'm right back to 2 over. Really good par on the par 3 16th, and then on 17 I almost holed out for eagle and tapped in for birdie. So I'm back to 1 over, going on to the par 5 18th. On 18 yesterday, I'd actually hit my drive into the water left with my hybrid. Now, wind was a little different today, so I was hitting 3-wood, and I absolutely pured it. Just great 3-wood right down my line. Hit a great 6-iron layup, and I've got, again, right about 100 yards to a very, very tough back left flag with water all around the green. And I just kind of bail out a little bit, but it was an okay shot. I hit it to about 20 feet. And this is where being so tired started to get to me, because I just could not focus on the task at hand. I ended up 3-putting for bogey. So I'm 2 over now, and I'm just not feeling good. And, you know, I'm getting more and more tired by the minute. Anyways, I'm not going to walk you guys through the entire front 9 because it's honestly just depressing and will probably make me cry. I shot 80 today. So I'm 11 over for the tournament. I have no idea where that puts me on the leaderboard, but it's somewhere near the bottom. I've essentially just played myself out of the tournament today. So I'm heartbroken. Unfortunately, one of those things when you're exhausted, that your bad habits tend to come back. So I was fighting bad habits today all day with my swing. But yeah, it was just a long, tough day. I mean, after hitting 15 greens yesterday, I think I hit 6 today, or 7 maybe. This is where golf sucks. You feel really good about your game. You have one rough night's sleep, and you play yourself out of your tournament. It's brutal because I feel like I have the game to compete. Today was just a round that's gonna haunt me. So I'm gonna do a little bit of practice here right now. I just need to get some video of my swing to take a look at and send to my coach, because I might not be in contention at this point. I mean, 2 ridiculously good rounds perhaps, but I mean, I moved the wrong way down the leaderboard today, and the guys in contention are moving further away from me, in the other direction. So I don't know if I'm necessarily mathematically out of it. I'm still going to come out the next 2 days and play the best golf that I can. So I'm going to do what I need to do now in order to do that. But I'm not going to be here for very long because I need to sleep. Shot of the day. So my 4th hole, the par 5 13th, hit a drive that wasn't very solid, but it was in the fairway. I hit 3-wood. I'm trying to get it up somewhere on the front of the green, and like many of my shots today, it started left and moved left. The pin's back left, so I've now missed completely to the wrong side. I'm below the green surface, I'm short-sided, everything's running away from me, and it's downwind. So that's like the trifecta of things that you don't want to have to deal with. Anyways, I had 39 yards, I hit lob wedge, open face, I mean, pretty close to a full swing flop shot. Went straight up in the air, cleared the bunker that was in front of me, landed on the fringe, trickled onto the green, and actually lipped out. Unfortunately, as it lipped out, it was one of those high side lip outs that picks up speed. So I ended up with about 6 feet. Now I did make that 6-footer. So that was the first of the 2 birdies that got me back to even. So that was a big momentum shift. Unfortunately, 2 holes later, the momentum shifted back in the other way. I just guys wish I had better news for you. But the only thing I can do is just get back to work, do what I need to do. So I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I have better news for you. I really hope I have better news for you. All right, guys, it's a little later in the day, just out of the grocery store grabbing something for dinner. I've had some time to reflect on today, and as much as everything I said earlier is true, at the end of the day, the great players, regardless of what challenge they're faced with, they find a way to dig deep and put up a score. And just wasn't able to do it. So it's disappointing. I'm disappointed in myself. There's a lesson to be learned in here somewhere. I'm not sure what it is yet. I will figure it out. And as much as today hurts, it will make me better. All right, round 3 recap. Today was much like the first round. I hit the ball pretty good today. Not great. I mean, I missed a couple shots, but generally speaking, I executed the shots I was trying to hit off the tee and into the greens. There's only really one shot I can think of that I missed, and that was my tee shot on the par 3 16th, which was my 7th hole of the day. That's one where I just didn't quite commit to the swing. It was playing tough. I ended up putting my tee shot in the water and just didn't get up and down from the drop area for bogey, so made double, which was unfortunate because I was 2 under for the day at that point with a couple of lip outs for birdie. So I had it going. I was playing good, and then missed that one shot, and then just missed birdie on the next 2, and then started off well on the front 9, just missing birdie on a couple holes, And then unfortunately in my last 6 holes, I missed 3 greens. Again, hit the shots I was trying to execute and just misjudged wind and ended up in some pretty bad spots and wasn't able to get up and down. All the other holes, good looks at birdie, and just made nothing. The 2 birdies I made early, they were both from inside of 6 feet. So the putting continues to be a struggle. Again, I'm hitting good putts. I'm getting closer. Today my pace control was really, really good. I mean, I think I only had to mark to line up my second putt twice. Other than that, I was just, inside of 2 feet, just all around the hole all day and nothing dropping. So very frustrating, because again, I feel like the score isn't a reflection of the way that I played. Again, I understand at the end of the day, score is the only thing that matters, but when you're executing the putts that you're trying to execute at the pace you're trying to execute on the line that you're trying to execute, and you just are struggling with reading the grain, man, it gets frustrating. I mean, the hole looks about as big as a thimble to me right now. So yeah, 3 over 74. I'm tied for dead last right now, which obviously I'm not proud of, and it's embarrassing to admit, but I gotta own it. Goal for tomorrow, make some putts, move up the leaderboard. Do not finish dead last. Shot of the day, second shot into the 12th hole, which was my 3rd hole today. Par 4 into wind. It was a completely different wind direction today, so the course played very differently than it had the last 4 days, including the practice rounds. Anyways, I've normally been hitting kind of gap wedge or sand wedge into this green, and today I hit 8-iron in. That's how different the course was playing. But anyways, it was an 8-iron from about 155 straight back into the breeze, flighted it beautifully and dropped it in there about 5 feet from the hole, and made that putt to get to 1 under at the time, and then birdied the following hole, the par 5, to get to 2 under, and then the rest is history. So anyways, a lot of positives for today. Still very frustrating, but it's not like yesterday where I just had nothing. I felt like I had good game out there today, so I'm happy about that. Obviously not happy about where I am leaderboard wise, but it's been a tough week. It's been a very tough week. 1 day left to go, 1 day to improve the score and make the most of this. I mean, this has been a great experience. I've learned a ton. I know I've gotten better. My short game has gotten a lot better since I've been down here, and I'm very excited about that going forward. But obviously still got a lot to learn about grainy greens, so try and figure that out. But as guys, that's it for today. Check back in with you tomorrow after the completion of round 4. Round 4 wrap up. Today was awful. I had 1 club in the bag that was working, and that was driver. I hit driver great. I only missed 1 fairway with it all day. Hitting my lines, hitting my flights. My iron game was poor. My wedge game was poor. My putting was just virtually non-existent. Even though I felt like I was hitting good putts, just made absolutely nothing. The longest putt I made today was a 4-footer. Hard to score when the only thing you're doing well is getting off the tee. It's crazy because all year driver was the worst club in my bag, putter was the best, irons and wedges were good, and then this week driver was the best club in my bag and putter was just pulled a complete no-show. So I'm done. I finished dead last. Man, that hurts to say. I mean, it's humiliating. Seeing as driver was the only club that worked, shot of the day is going to be my drive on the first hole, which was my 10th hole. Par 5, we're playing as a 4. Breeze slightly off the right and hit this beautiful high draw, which is exactly what I was looking for. Went about 340, had 9-iron in and missed the green with 9-iron. So that's the kind of day it was. Anyways, I'm going to do a full recap of this week later. I'm a little too hot right now mentally to get into it. I need to just decompress a little bit, and I want to get off of this property as fast as possible because I hate this golf course. Anyways, see you soon. All right, guys, I'm back down in Pensacola. Before we go any further, I really just want to thank everybody who contributed to the GoFundMe and made this a reality. From all the individual contributors to the Carboni family from Windmill Heights. Obviously it wasn't the week I was hoping it would be, but it was a phenomenal experience, and it's going to make me a better player and a better person going forward. So I've had some time to reflect on what happened last week. Obviously a major disappointment. I mean, going into it, I felt like I had the game to get through. I figured if I had a bit of an off week, I'd at least come close. And obviously I just didn't even come close. I would have loved to have played better. I think that's stating the obvious slightly, but golf is hard, and sometimes you just have a week where it just doesn't work. I did a lot of things really well last week. You know, if you can't make putts, you're never going to score. Again, I don't know how many times I've said in this video, but I felt like I was hitting really good putts. I mean, it's become pretty obvious to me that being assigned to that site really didn't work in my favor. The combination of the really grainy greens that I struggled reading and controlling my pace on, and just the layout. You know, I'm a reasonably longer hitter, and that was only a 6,700 yard course, so it kind of didn't play to my advantage. Now, I'm not saying I would have gotten through if I'd been at another site. I didn't have game last week, but it's definitely another factor that went against me. I do kind of find it strange that they're doing tour qualifying on a course like that, that's 6,700 yards, because I really don't feel like they're necessarily finding the guys from that site who will necessarily do well at later stages, or assuming they get out on tour, will be able to really compete once they get out on tour. Just speaking distance-wise, I mean, we know that it's a bomber's game now. I really don't have any regrets about last week. I mean, I felt good going into it. I did everything I needed to do going into it to prepare, and throughout the week, even though things really weren't going my way. You know, if I hadn't worked as hard as I had, or done all the recovery work that I'd done, there'd be room for some regret or second guessing, the what ifs. There really is none of that. I did what I needed to do. It just wasn't my week, and that sucks, especially being such a big week, but I've accepted what happened. I'm moving on. Right now, I don't really know what the next step is in terms of my competitive playing career. I still feel like I have a lot of game. I don't feel like I've reached my full potential or the level that I want to compete at. But financially, at the moment, I just don't really have the backing that I would need to continue doing what I'm doing. So the short-term goals right now, I'm down here for about another week, and then I'm heading back home to Montreal for the winter. I'm gonna get back to giving golf lessons, just as a means of paying bills, putting food on the table. And I'm gonna concentrate a lot more energy on the YouTube channel. So that's basically what I've been doing since the end of first stage, is just building up a bank of content that I can release over the winter. I've got some pretty exciting things coming up. I'm really looking forward to getting this content out to you guys. I'd like to get to the point where I can monetize this channel so that I can spend even more time creating the content to put out for you guys, and maybe even use it as a way to continue supporting my playing career. But we'll see how this goes. Guys, thanks a lot for sticking around. I hope you've enjoyed this series. Definitely not the outcome that I was expecting. To everybody who contributed and helped me get down here, I can't help but feel that I let you guys down a little bit with my performance last week. But I'm moving on and come back better, stronger. Guys, if you have enjoyed this content, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, I got some really exciting stuff coming up, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Cheers, guys.